Hey guys, and welcome to the TCC podcast, where we discuss everything coffee.
From the tree straight into your cup.
Our heart's desire is to bring you not just coffee knowledge, but the love of coffee through the knowledge. On this podcast, we will be discussing things like coffee species, varieties,
Farms, processing, roasting,
coffee prices, coffee brewing, of course coffee shops,
and then, of course, ratios, which is a very important one, coffee and water, and coffee competitions.
and so on and so on. We want to try and discuss every single thing coffee related. So my name is Theo Leroux,
And my name is Stefan Schwartz.
and today's topic is coffee species. So we'll be discussing a little bit of coffee species. Now, species is this very weird subject to the degree where it's not really spoken of much. But before we get to that, let's get into what coffee we are drinking today. So we are actually drinking one of the four species.
We are
Well,
And
one of the four main species.
main species, yeah. So, and that will be Arabica.
Arabica, yes.
But-
Mostly, I think
yeah.
we probably drink Arabica here in South Africa.
Yeah, we don't. Well, instant coffees are going,
Yeah, we've got a bit
little
of
bit on the-
instant coffees around,
but we don't drink.
which is Robustas or Canaphoras, as some of the
Yeah.
guys say.
You and me don't drink it.
Yeah, I'm not a very big
We
fan of
taste
it. The reason why I don't like it much
Yeah.
is because of the fact that obviously it's fairly dark roasted because it's a very
Yeah.
dense bean.
Yeah.
And so it gives me heartburn, man.
Yeah,
I don't like
I
heartburn.
saw that, yeah.
You saw that.
And the thing is with my experience, that is Robusta is not usually a species that's got a lot of flavor, like fruity kind of flavors like
Yeah,
the Arabicas. So, but in any case, so
So the coffee we're drinking today,
coffee
yes,
today,
Arabica species.
Arabica species, region. Okay, well, sorry.
Yeah,
So it's Latin America, so it's South.
it's grown in El Salvador. El Salvador, yes. It's an El Salvador grown coffee.
It's a Pacamara.
It's a Pacamara variety,
Nice,
yes.
nice.
Actually, one of my favorite varieties out there in the world.
Yeah, the Pacamaras are very nice.
Yes, even though we can't really call it a variety, which we're not going to go into varieties today because of the fact that we will be discussing varieties on the next podcast.
Yes, yes. And so it's a fully washed process.
It's a fully washed process,
and,
yes.
It's been roasted by a place called Crema Coffee Roasters,
Crema Coffee Roasters from
Nashville,
the
Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee in America.
Hey.
Shh. So good job on that, guys.
Yeah.
We've got some coffee here from America.
Yeah, that's
Grown at
that's-
1,500 to 1,700 meters above sea level.
and
Yes,
the
you wanted to
producers.
say?
No, the producers are the Menendez family,
Yes.
and the farm is Las Delicas.
Which we can
Delicias,
spell for you
I
guys
think.
because we are not Spanish. It's LAS Delcias, which I'm guessing is DELICIAS. We will link them in the podcast down below.
Yes.
Go and check them out.
Yeah.
I did some research on their coffee. It's actually a fermented and then fully washed coffee, which was very interesting.
Yes.
Because normally, if I personally produce or process coffees, I try and not wash my coffees after I have done the process. I actually
Okay.
like to keep that sugar elements, as close to the bean as possible.
Well, like a honey.
Yes, like if I do red
honey-processed
honeys or black honeys or whatever, I
natural.
like that sugars to be there. So the moment I wash them after fermentation, I guess it helps them dry quicker. Not
So-
100% sure why they do
Okay, so
that.
then the process is not that long as when you will have it as a natural or a honey or
Yes,
something like that.
I mean
Okay.
naturals can sometimes dry up to 50 to 60 days. That's
That's
a
long.
long time for coffees
long.
to normally shade,
Yeah.
shade dried on African raised beds. So, but very nice coffee.
Yeah. We did it through an AeroPress.
Yes, we did an AeroPress on a 1:2. 12 ratio, probably about a 1.5 minute stir,
Stir.
a 30-second push,
Yes.
just the weight of the arm, creating a nice cleanish coffee.
Yeah.
Just single filter.
Yeah, single filter, and
Water temperature was
it's 87.
87 degrees Celsius. Not
Yeah.
bad, not
so,
bad.
Yeah, so and the thing is why I like AeroPress is I like the body.
Mm.
A bit for me I like the bit fuller body on the press. That's for me. That's a nice thing. I like my Chemex and those things also, but generally I like a full body.
Now, you like your body,
Yeah,
man.
I like the body.
He's a French press body guy. He used to be a milk drinker.
Used to.
And apparently, since he's met me, he's completely over it.
Thank you, Mr. Theo.
Hey, we're not supposed to drink some other baby's milk, you know,
That's true.
especially not as adults. But that's my personal opinion. If you like milk, like, go right ahead.
Go for it.
I'm not going to judge you for it. But I am dairy intolerant.
Yeah.
And so it makes me very, 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 very sick. So I prefer not to drink it.
With the last judging on the local barista.
Yes, the local barista competition, yes.
I realized that I don't drink milk. It's not good for me. I didn't feel good afterwards. And it was not a good experience.
Ah, goodness.
But
yes,
that's
let's
why
jump
I drink
into the
it.
topic. Sorry.
No,
It sounded
no,
like
fine.
I kind of stopped you there in your
Okay.
spot. I actually thought you were going to be like, we need to get to this because we're going to run out of time.
Well,
Which
yeah.
we're already 6 minutes into this, so
Okay,
that means
cool.
we definitely need to start jumping.
Let's
So,
do this.
coffee species. I would say there's probably 4 main species in the world that I am very familiar with. We are going to mention 2 or 3 others that wasn't very familiar. Not until certain points, when we discovered them or found coffee farms that actually grow some of these coffees. And for me, it was a amazing newly found thing when I actually discovered species. I'm not sure, how did you get to know species?
I didn't even know there was species. Like I said, like in the previous podcast, I didn't put a lot of thought in what I'm drinking.
No, you were just a coffee
I'm
drinker.
just like,
man.
I want to drink coffee.
He just wants
I was
to drink a lot of coffee. Number one or
addict.
number 2? I think you're more of a number 2.
Number 2, yeah, definitely.
Because
But
you wake up fairly well.
yeah, but we haven't told the listeners about what a
Yes, the 4
types we are,
different
but
coffee drinkers. Which
we'll get there.
now that you're thinking you know what we're talking about,
Okay,
just
so-
keep on listening. We will discuss it soon.
So yeah, I didn't really thought about species or all those kinds of stuff until I met you, and then you started speaking about these things. And I'm like, species.
Whatever.
And then the more we start getting more different types of coffees, and especially specialty coffees where people put all the info on the packets where you can get the info, then I started to realize that
Traceability.
yeah, traceability. And then I was used to Arabica
Okay.
because that's
what you knew.
Everybody is like, what coffee do you have? 100% Arabica.
There we go, man. I love it when you walk into a coffee shop and you go, hey, barista, what coffee do you have on the hopper? And he goes, 100% Arabica. And I'm like, great, so you know the species you're using. So
You know
where's
one
it
part of
from?
it.
Yeah, it's like, do you actually know where it's from? And they go, oh, yes. This is a Guatemala and South America. And I'm like, come on, baristas. Like, Brazil or Guatemala is in South America.
South America has got a few.
Yes, there's like a few regions or
where we can
countries
get some,
down there.
where we can get some good coffee.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, soon we'll be tasting. I mean, today we're doing like an El Salvador, like
Yeah.
South American.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
And having a Bitcoin cryptocurrency.
Oh
It's
yes,
part of their
of
currency.
course.
It's part of their
Being
currency.
the only country in the world
And that's
that
awesome.
officially first got to accepting Bitcoin as a local currency.
Yeah. So just a nice fact there for
Just
you guys.
throw that in there. I mean, at the end of the day, this is about cryptocurrencies and
It is,
creating a crypto coin that can uplift the coffee standard and, of course, revolutionize and strengthen the coffee ecosystem.
Yes,
So this is what the TCC podcast is all about.
Yeah, definitely. And so species for me,
Yes.
I didn't really, like I said, didn't know about it, just heard about Arabica, but
Right.
that didn't mean anything for me until I started learning from you, and I started realizing that there's a huge difference in coffee tasting, the varieties, all those kind of stuff from the different species.
Definitely.
And I haven't tasted all of them. I've only tasted Liberica, Robusta, and Liberica I say now, and Liberica. So Arabica, Robusta, and Liberica, but only the Turkish
the Turkish style.
Liberica.
Yes.
So that's the only Liberica that I've tasted.
Yeah, we'll soon hopefully have the opportunity to play with a bit of actual green Liberica coffees. I'm trying to source some from international standards, from Saudi Arabia and so on.
Nice.
Fairly hard to get here because we live in South Africa. They want us to buy a 60 kg bag and ship it here, which, well, I don't know how the rest of the world works when it comes to shipping 60 kgs or 65 kgs of coffee, but it gets very expensive to get it done here.
From our side,
and then we have to pay import taxes and all of that stuff, which I've not had the guts to order a 60 kg, even though I did find one of the species, which we'll discuss now as well, that I did order, but they were willing to be able to send me only 5 kgs.
Oh, that's nice.
Which
So
is very, very big.
That's from India?
That's the one from South India, yes.
Nice.
There's a coffee farm in India that I actually have their Instagram handle somewhere here. I'll throw it out. We'll link them in the comments down below. Or the description of the podcast. But amazing guys. So the 4 main species that I knew.
Yeah.
After obviously studying into coffee for a little bit, because in the beginning, the same as you, I don't know anything about coffee, especially not for the whole thing of species, and then going into varieties, and then going into different cultivations, and it just got too much. And so I really had to delve in and actually study into coffee.
Yeah.
So the 4 main ones we know, obviously, is the Robusta, or the Canephora, as some of the guys pronounce it. If we've just mispronounced some of these words, be nice to us, and don't try and fix it, because we suck at speaking.
Pronouncing. The pronouncing guy is not
pronunciation
here.
is just, we're not Spanish, man.
Our pronouncer is not here today.
Definitely not. Yeah, Mr. Tion or Christian is not here today, so he will help us in the future.
Yeah.
So it was Robusta.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Arabica species, which Stefan has mentioned. Then the Liberica, which is mostly, I know, used for the Turkish coffee. It mostly grows in, or wildly grows, available in Saudi Arabia, Yemen, those type of places. And of course, in some places in Ethiopia, which is very close to it. Those were the 3 main species I knew. And I was like, yeah, I've tasted them all. And then I do some research, and I'm like, oh, there's this other one called Excelsa. Now, not the Colombia Excelsa, not the variety, but actually the species.
Oh, is there a variety, Colombia
Excelsa? Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Interesting.
And so we actually have that available as a high point commercial coffee here in South Africa. We sell Colombia Excelsa because it's cheap. And living in South Africa, we think that everything coffee-wise should be cheap, which we're trying to change that.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
cheap coffee you can taste.
You have to get value in your cup.
Yes, value for money, man.
Value
for
in your
money.
cup.
So Excelsa, I was like, whoa. Now for 4 years, I was trying to find some Excelsa. And I found this farm in India. And they were like, yeah, we're growing this. I was like, fantastic. How sure are we that this is Excelsa? And they were like, well, here's the WCR certificate, like World Coffee Research certificate, saying this is an actual, species of Excelsa.
Okay.
Now,
Nice.
Something interesting about Excelsa that you mentioned to me earlier in discussing is that Excelsa used to be its own species.
Yeah.
But apparently in 2006,
there was
some guys were like, nah, we'll just put this under like Liberica.
Yeah, so and I think it's still a debate until today that it's they want to put it on its own as a species on its own.
Yeah.
But then other guys are putting it under Liberica as a variety of Liberica.
That's very weird. Those don't even look the same really, even though the leaves is similar.
Yeah,
one is as big as my body, and the other one is as big as in my hand.
But the thing is, the Excelsa is a long, thinnish leaf.
Yeah.
Where the Liberica is like a huge leaf. It's like
it's gigantic.
It's like
man.
You can put 5 or 6 hands next to each other and then cover the leaf. So
yes. I've actually shown pictures to people, and people would be like, wow, that looks like an elephant ear plant.
Yeah.
Like it's a humongous leaf.
Definitely. So there's I think the beans are also different.
Yeah, the beans is kind of like this oval shape at the top, but in the cherry. And then it pops really round at the bottom where the blossoms come out. Yeah. Now, when I look at the actual cherries, I would more identify it towards Arabica because it grows very similar to Arabica for me. But then again, I've never seen the actual plant in real life. So I can't put it in my garden and actually compare it to others.
Yes.
So hopefully will have the ability one day.
Yeah, so just the part that I got from this is
Yes.
so it's mainly cultivated in Asia, Southeast Asia, like the Philippines, Vietnam, India, and yeah, so that's where it's mainly cultivated. But it was actually discovered in 1903 in Central Africa,
Yes.
where it was also known as caffea. Caffea deverai or something like that.
Something like that.
So it was like a species on its own.
Yes.
And until about 15 years ago, Excelsa was believed to be a species of the caffea genus
Yes.
in its own right. It was only in 2006 it was officially reclassified as a deverai, whatever variety of the Liberica species.
Interesting,
So,
man.
So it looks like it was they had it under Liberica as a species, and then it went back to its own self as Excelsa, and then they reclassified it back to under a Liberica species. So I don't know what's happening. It's confusing, but
no. Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
we see the big differences between the two.
Yes.
So for me, it makes sense that it can be on its own.
All right.
So,
for me as well. But that also, like, just having that information there makes me think of the Rasmosa variety of species.
Yeah, you spoke about it, and I didn't know it was a species on its own.
Yes, we actually grow Rasmosa here in South Africa, Rasmosa. We have some of it available on the farm in Port Edward, South Africa, on the Mpinjati coffee farm, and very, very interesting species or variety. I know that it used to be part of the C. Canephora, genus, but at the end of the day, they were like we don't really want to make it its own species. Let's make it part of the Robusta species, which right now we're not even 100% certain what they've decided, for it. Yes, Wikipedia's got its own opinion. And if you have more accurate information on this, please go update the Wikipedia, because I would like to know.
Yeah, that would be great.
Unfortunately, I'm not the scientist out there who makes these decisions. And if you are, please contact us. Like, I would love to know more about these species and how they actually classify under certain elements.
Yeah, because we want to learn at the end of the day.
Yeah, I want to
get
learn
more info around it, and
so that we can then share the information with the rest of the world.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end of the day, we can get more knowledge, and maybe there's new species that's been discovered or rediscovered or something like that,
like the one from last year.
Yeah, like this,
like Stenopholia. So, like, if you guys want to see more on the Stenopholia, spelled Stenophylla, James Hoffman made a phenomenal video on this last year, giving some historical facts around where it was discovered in Sri Lanka, in the 1794, and how it got rebranded in 1834, and how it actually kind of died out as a known species, in the coffee world, where we buy coffee, in 1980, 5 years before I was born.
Sure.
I mean, there's no way I would have known about it until James Hoffman actually made a video about it. I know now, mostly found in Indonesia and in Madagascar.
Yeah,
but apparently it grew in a few places.
Yeah, like places like Guinea and
Ghana. Yeah,
no, it's
Guinea as well.
Guinea,
I know Guinea. I know there was in Ghana, Sri Lanka,
Sierra Leone, and places like that. Yeah, so.
Oh shucks! I've actually got Sierra Leone. That's what it was. Not Sri Lanka. My goodness, Sri Lanka is way out to the west.
That's a different.
To the east.
Place. Yeah, so. Yeah,
sorry,
so I
guys.
think the main thing it looks like it was mainly from Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone, yes. Yeah, it was found in Sierra Leone in 1794.
Yes.
Sorry, Sri Lanka. Giving you guys some credit here.
Yeah. So
I know it also grew a bit in Uganda, but I don't think it's widely grown there anymore.
And Ivory Coast, they mentioned some Ivory Coast. So yeah, I think,
nice.
But I think that. I think it sounds like there's a lot of potential for the Stenopholia around.
Yes, apparently it outperforms Arabica by flavor by tenfold.
And I mean, if we can have, and the nice thing about it is it's a more robust kind of bean, so it can handle lesser altitudes.
Yes,
and
it's at lower altitudes
Yeah.
where it can grow. Yes,
lower altitudes.
it's a lot
and,
more pest. No, it's not pest resistant. Or is
Not-
it pest resistant?
I'm
I
not
can't
sure.
remember.
Not sure.
I don't think it's very pest resistant.
But the nice thing is you can grow. You don't have to grow it mainly in the coffee belt, like higher altitudes.
Nice.
Like
outside the coffee belt.
outside of the coffee belt. So
Okay.
I think they said, just give me a second, I'll get you the.
Well, while he looks for that, I know that one thing is very known for it, and one of the reasons why it actually kind of died out is because its harvesting potential is very, very small.
Yeah.
Very similar in look and shape as the Rasmosa, small
Yes.
little black cherry. It died out because it actually doesn't give a very big harvest.
Yeah.
And so they were like, nope, that's not going to make money.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Let's
yeah.
throw it out. Like,
Definitely.
how sad is that?
Yeah, that's
But
really
I
nice.
know that there are some farms now specializing in it, wanting to bring it back because
think
of
that
the
will be
amazing
great.
flavors.
I think that will be great because
Yes.
the nice thing about it is, especially now with the climate change and all those kinds of
Yes.
stuff, that I think
Really having a influence on coffee.
something that's got similarities than like Arabica,
Yes.
then you can have that you can grow in harder or harsher conditions, if I can
Environments,
say
yes.
it like that. So so I think that's an exciting species that I would like to taste.
Oh, the same over here. I would love to taste it. We have tasted Rasmosa. It's a very,
Yeah.
very, very tiny bean. We actually have some available here. So if you're in South Africa, I can send you some. If not, I'll have to post you some or courier you some from the actual farm. We
Yeah.
actually took down, which on our blog post, which will be on Medium, we will also link that in the comments down below or inside the description down below. You guys can go and read a little, like Medium blog post that we'll be putting out with quite a bit of information on, just to have available, for you guys to go to different links where we found all of our research, so you can actually go and do some reading yourself.
Yeah.
But so we've tasted that. We'll link some photos where we actually this year not just picked the Rasmosa, but actually fermented.
Yeah.
We were like, well, this smells like Grenadellas. Let's see if we can do something with it. So it's on the drying beds right now.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will get it out and actually, taste it soon, as soon as they dry. Guys, if there's some dogs barking in the background, we are so sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Just bear with us. This is a
Um,
podcast with natural environment.
There we go.
Some of these
Anything
podcasts will
can
be
happen.
shot in a coffee shop or
Anything can
recorded there,
happen.
and there's going to be noise.
Yeah.
So,
Accept anything.
yes, accept anything.
Okay, so
Now, what's your favorite species
well at
thus
the,
far?
at the moment Arabica, because that's
Nice.
the species I've mainly.
You've had most contact
Yeah.
with?
So I know you got me some
Some
Robusta.
speciality Robusta.
So
yes.
I'm looking forward to taste that.
Ooh, that's gonna be
so,
nice.
So yeah, that's gonna. I'm really excited about that. But mainly, I've tasted Arabica. So at the moment, must be my favorite.
Okay.
Have to be, because
Nice.
that's mainly what I drink.
I
So-
like it. I like it. Well, I know.
And
At
yours?
the end of the day, well, I've now obviously had an 83 speciality Uganda Robusta, and to be honest, it was nice,
Yeah.
but very, very dense. And on roast profile, it kind of gave me heartburn.
It's a bit dark.
Yeah, so a bit on the darkish
Or is
side,
it-
even though it was a very light roast.
Or is it more because of the Robusta
well,
species?
That's a very good question. I know that a lot of guys have opinion or very opinionated around the fact that you can taste, the bitterness of caffeine, and they say because it's a higher caffeine coffee
Yeah.
that I would then taste that more bitterness, and it could be that bitterness is the reason why I got some heartburn.
Yeah.
I know that when I drink dark roasted any coffee, heartburn is normally something that happens quickly because of the way that we caramelize the sugar and then burn the sugar. And with my O positive blood group stomach acids, it just comes back,
Yeah.
and I get heartburn from it. So I don't know if that's the reason. It could be the caffeine.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
So I've tasted a few. I've also done on my YouTube channel, Theo GLR. I've done 17 or 19 different instant coffee tastings,
Yeah.
of which some of them were Robusta and Arabica blends, and a lot of them were Arabica 100%, and some of them were 100% Robustas. And one thing I can be very honest about is the fact that most of Robusta that I've ever tasted in my life, unfortunately, is fairly bitter for my palate. So I'm not a very big fan of it. I'm sure if we took some Robusta and did a proper fermentation on it, we might get some beautiful. I know that there are guys out there doing it.
Yeah.
They're doing natural processes.
Yeah, and I think there's a place, and I think it's in the UK. It's called the Black Sheep Roasteries. I think they took the
Black Sheep, like in the packet that we've tasted, or it's a different Black Sheep?
No, it's from UK.
Okay, so there's a Black Sheep in South Africa.
Yeah,
as well.
No, it's from UK. I've read it.
Nice.
So for them, they said like the Robusta is like the black sheep of the family. So
yes, that's what we like to believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you couldn't see my what do you call it?
Yeah, for the guys on YouTube watching this, you can obviously see him like throw his fingers in the air, creating little bunny ears.
The black sheep. But anyway, so they took Robusta as their main coffee, and they tried to get it as a specialty coffee. So
nice.
I would like to maybe try and contact them and get some of their coffee.
We have
because they are specialized in Robusta.
Yes.
So I think that's interesting, and I think it's nice because the whole world like Arabica, but I think if you can get somebody that specializes in one of the other species, it's nice because they focus on that.
Yeah.
So they can get the best potential out of that coffee.
Yeah. I mean, they probably work with the farmers that do special fermentations, and they like probably play with different types of roast profiles on an extremely dense bean. So I mean, I definitely, if you guys have a specialty Robusta out there that you would like for us to taste, please contact us. We'll buy some, and because we want to actually experience coffee.
Yeah. In all kinds of shapes and forms.
Yes. Now, something that I just have to mention on the Liberica, I've tasted like 2 or 3 different types of Libericas.
Okay.
But all of them were process roasted and already pre-grinded, mostly for other types of coffees like Liberica or like Turkish coffee.
Yeah.
And I know that at the World Champs, if I'm not mistaken, someone actually took some Liberica beans to World Champs and did fairly well. They roasted it to such a point where they really caramelized beautiful, like fruity flavors from it, which I was well impressed with.
Well,
no, I didn't taste it yet though.
Yeah.
But what I read.
What you read.
Yes.
And that's on the research I also did. So they said that it's you can get out of it. You can get some floral, fruity, chocolate taste out of the Liberica.
Yes.
And the thing is that an interesting thing that I saw is they say it's they get the jackfruit. I've never tasted the jackfruit. You smelled and I don't know.
Yeah, I've not tasted jackfruit yet, but I have heard a lot of stories where they say it smells like stinky socks or rotten cheese.
But at least they say it tastes good.
It tastes amazing. Yes, if you can get past the smell, apparently.
Pinch your nose and eat the fruit.
Stick it in your mouth and then chew, and then leave your nose to kind of taste the flavors.
So what I've seen on the research that I've done is I saw a lot of the main character of Liberica when they go to the fruity side is the jackfruit.
Okay.
And then some people say that it can be sweeter than Arabica.
Nice.
So I think if you play
need to
with
just caramelize it. Yes.
I think if you go for a fermentation or a natural process or something like that, and you can get to a nice sweet a light roast, and you do a nice V60 or something.
Yes, I bet that could be amazing.
Yeah, and when you extract it where you can get the most sweetness out of your coffee, I think it might be. I would like to try it.
Yes, no, definitely here. So if you guys are out there and you have experimented with Robusta or Liberica, please let us know. We want to support you, buy something from you, so that we can actually taste the coffee and tell the rest of the world what it tastes like.
Just another interesting fact that I've read about Liberica, and why I think Excelsa is not part of Liberica is they said that Liberica is not self-pollinated.
Oh yes, that's very true. Most of the coffees can do self-pollination.
Yeah, it needs bees to pollinate.
Oh wow, so it's cross-pollination.
Cross-pollination, yeah.
Very interesting.
So that was interesting for me.
Yes.
I didn't. When I heard that, I'm like, I haven't thought about it like.
No, well,
all
I
of
wouldn't
us.
I don't grow Liberica, so why would I have thought about that?
But so it's not self-pollinated.
I like that.
So that's very interesting. So that's why I also think that Excelsa is not part of it.
Yeah, because that one is self-pollinated.
Yeah.
Well, we hope. We think. We're not 100% certain we don't grow them.
So yeah.
Excellent. Well,
cool.
almost brings us to the end of the podcast. So that means we want to end out with, of course, 3 main questions. Question number 1, why is this important information? Well, my personal experience, until the day that I knew the different species, by the actual type of coffees we get out there, it only made sense to me at that point in time why Robustas are so bitter. I never knew before why I didn't like it so much until I found out, Robusta's darker roast because it's dense. And then all of a sudden, I was able to drink coffees that suited my palate more. Arabica's much softer, a lot more flavor.
Yeah.
In the sense of, there's a lot of places in the world where I know they don't prefer drinking Arabica coffees. They say it's too acidic. It's too fruity. It doesn't taste like coffee.
Yeah.
So, if you know what you're drinking, then at the end of the day, you could really appreciate what you're drinking because of the fact that you know.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing is with why this is important is I think people that's a bit more sensitive to caffeine, like the Robusta's got a bit more caffeine.
If you struggle with high blood pressure, stay away from Robustas.
Yeah. So and then where they don't know about that's why a lot of people can't drink the instant coffee. So they say they get heart palpitations or keeps them awake or whatever.
Right.
But I think if there's a Robusta in it, that may have an effect on them.
Most definitely.
Because of the higher caffeine content.
Right. So if you've got high blood pressure, try and stick to Arabicas.
Yeah.
It's got like half the amount of caffeine than Robustas.
Yeah. And have it as an espresso.
And have it as an espresso.
Or a ristretto.
Short extractions, extracting then less caffeine molecules, in our opinion, than ending up in less caffeine in cup.
Definitely.
Of course, second question would be, how does this make my coffee better? Well, if you know you're drinking Robustas, you know they can be pushing your ratios much, much higher. If you don't know what ratios is, keep on listening. We will be discussing ratios soon.
Yeah,
then add a bit more water. Push your ratios between 1 to 17, 1 to 20s, maybe even 1 to 22s, balancing out that bitter flavor.
Yes,
so watering or numbing it down, then creating a more suitable cup on bitter elements for your palate.
Yeah, and if you like bitterness, then
go heavy or go home.
Yeah.
And when you go home, go heavy at home.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's, like you said, when you know what you're drinking and you know what species you have.
Yes.
Then you know the characteristics and the info of the species. Then you can know what your palate like, what you don't like.
Exactly.
If you like bitterness, if you like fruitiness, acidity, whatever, then you can go according to, so you start with a species like Arabica or Robusta. I like, let's say, for instance, you like Robusta because you like bitterness and you like the caffeine and whatever. Then you know your main coffee will be Robusta.
Right.
And not all of the people likes bitterness and those kind of things. But
correct. Like me.
At the end of the day, when you know what it is and how the species influence your flavor and your taste and on your palate,
then you can actually get what you like.
Yeah, and that's why it's important.
That's important. Which answers the third question. How can this apply to my coffee life to make my coffee life better? It's literally going out, experimenting with the coffee and finding what you like, finding what you don't like, then sticking to what you like and try staying away from what you don't. Then you don't waste your money.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you know what you like, then you're always going to go back to it.
That's it.
Experiment in the certain species, but you know what species you like, what your palate is like, and
that makes you happy.
Yeah,
because we just want to be happy.
Yeah, and
especially if I drink my coffee.
That's why we drink coffee.
My coffee should make me happy, man.
Definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So guys, that brings us to the end of this Species podcast. I know that we ran a few seconds over. Sorry about that, but we are cutting this one short. So we hope you guys enjoyed all this information. Yeah. And of course, if you have more information for us, please go and send us a DM on Twitter or on Instagram or even on Facebook, so that we can then experience and experiment with what you know about coffee. So, we hope you guys enjoyed this, and we want to say we hope that you find your happy place in every single cup.